Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be on a Sunday night here on Top Split TV, where tonight we're bringing you round 4 of season 20 of Sunday Night Lights, where once again I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me as always is the chaotic one himself, Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, big night of racing ahead of us here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. They might not have raced here in real life yet for Formula One, but we're definitely going to race here in the Skippies. And it should be an absolutely awesome night. As always, Benny Simpson take. It's going to be interesting to watch him fight through the field just like he did last week, Alex.
Oh, sorry, folks. I just had a big network glitch, but we're back in action. Missed some of what you said there, Corey. Sorry. But yeah, Simonson is back in action tonight, as I think I heard. And you look, he had one of the drives of the series in the history of the series, I think, rivaled perhaps by those of Dennis Johansson, who's not on track tonight, but is in the chat. On track is Mr. Enzo Kanda, though, for Thrustmaster Nirvana Racing, back for another crack at the title. Few old names and new once again. Cristobal Otero for a Cross Simar Competition. He's back. Lee Anderson. Is he? Yes, he is once again in that shiny Puce-powered machine. Good to see him back out on the track, Corey. And Joe Osborne, the UK&I driver. He's done a couple of SNL races. Did all right the warm-up race. Looking to repeat that in the big one tonight.
Well, I definitely hope so, Alex, because it looked like him and Benny Simpson were going to be on for a good battle if they were to choose to battle. But I also noticed that we got another name that we haven't seen for a while, Tomas Simon. It's great to see him here, played at number 2 tonight. It should be interesting to see. We also got Cristobal Otero in the 4 car. We've got a lot of great drivers, and they're starting to get laps in now, with Anthony Jones taking the top spot at the moment, Alex.
Team Torpedoes, Anthony Jones sitting on top of the pops at the moment, but we know that it's Cristobal Otero. He's just pipped him there by about a tenth and a half. We know that Simonson is a late runner. He runs these late. Oh, he's back to the old livery here tonight, not in the white car, although that could just be my internet playing games again, as well as been running the white livery this season, but we'll have to keep that in mind. He is a late runner here when it comes to quality. It's about 3 minutes ago, so he'll have another lap as he crosses to begin that second time lap and jump straight 4.5 tenths ahead of Simon. I'll tell you what, Simon is no slouch either. So certainly, as far as first laps goes, he's thrown the gauntlet down, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And I do have to say, you don't have to adjust your computer. He is indeed in the multiple colored car tonight. So it's great to see. We've also got Enzo Cantor here in the 8 car. I can't actually see him on track. Oh, yes, I can. There he is, just about to head into the final sector of the lap. Had an interesting race in the warm-up, finishing in, I think it was P3 or 4, but maybe a little bit of controversy surrounding it with a little bit of contact. But, contact happens in racing. I did hear him apologize in the warm-up race, so we'll just have to wait and see what unfolds for Enzo tonight.
Yeah, we might just see how he's going on his lap. What I assume will be his second lap as he comes across the start-finish line this time round. He has managed only a 54.6, so that won't see him move up the order anytime soon. Simonson now approaching the middle stages, or coming towards the latter stages of his lap. No, he's out the back there, coming through that final chicane there at 12 and 13 on his way down to Kumo. 3 tenths is his current lead. Can he beat that this time round? I think it'll just be down to him, Corey, as he comes out the exit of 15 now up this long straight to finish them out. And can he beat a 53.6? Someone's thrown a tyre at him in the background, but he has indeed done a 53.4. So 53.4 for Simpson cements his place some 4 tenths ahead at the top of the pops, as just a few drivers still out on track. Sebastian Schultz running the Smurf count tonight, the 10K. He's up with a 53.8. And we've got the Pierce-powered Lee Anderson coming around for what I think, is that his second lap there, Corey?
I do believe that is his. Once I get on him here. Yeah, this is his cooldown lap, Alex. And also, that random tyre that you saw was from Cristobal Otero, who I'm guessing caught himself an off track on his second lap. Decided to properly put it into the end of the pit wall rather than finish off the lap that wouldn't count.
Yeah, there you go. That'd about do it. We've got Team Milo's John Scholtz. Looks to be the only Team Milo car in the field tonight, although we do have Sean Carron. He sometimes wears the Milo green. What's Scholtz got for us in the last second? Is this his third lap or his second? 54.1. Wouldn't make a difference anyway. As that brings us to a close of quali, at least, the Sunday Night Lights. Coming to you from Zandvoort tonight. Benny Simpson continuing his streak of poles here, or with the exception of last week, but he's cleared out by 3.5 tenths from Sebastian Schultz on a Smurf count tonight in P2. Joe Osborne from UKNI in P3. UKNI's Lee Anderson just behind him in P4. The UKNI boys dominating the top 5 with Thomas Simon in P5 off the grid. Alexis Tapia Vico from Iberia in P6. Cristobal Otero backing up after his birthday race last week. The Cross Simart Competition driver starting from P7. Martin Booker from UKNI in P8. First to the ANZ drivers, John Scholtz representing Team Milo in P9 tonight. George Matsushinsky out of P10. Kevin Henderson, the ANZ driver, in P11. Anthony Jones for Team Torpedo in P12, rounding out the first page of the grid as we go over to P13 tonight. Alejandro S. Sanz from Iberia Armagen. Oh, that's what I'm going to go with out of P14. Enzo Cantor for Thrustmaster Movano. 1.1 seconds off the pace. Not where he wanted to be. Thomas Torp out of P16 tonight. Good to see Thomas back. Daniel Tufts, the UKNI driver, out of 17th. Wayne Losh, new to the series, out of P18 tonight for ANZ. Sean Carron, 73, although I think he's wearing Milo these days. The ANZ driver out of P19. Strength of field 37.87. Best of the week once again. Air and track temp both sitting about 18 degrees as I pull my tongue out of my ear to try and get that little tongue twister out. Corey, who's your money on tonight as we count down to the start? Some 10 seconds away. Quick one. Quick prediction.
Well, it'd have to be Benny Simpson because Zandvoort is a very hard track to pass on, and being on pole, he is in the prime position. As we get ready to go, the starter takes his position, Alex.
Red lights mean rev. And green lights mean go as the starter held them for quite some time. This time round on the run down to turn number 1. We see Simonson leading it out. He has taken a slightly defensive line, but I tell you what, good start out of P2 there. The 10 car of Sebastian Schultz, he's managed to hold the inside line there, holding out Joe Osborne in P3. 2x2 they go through the first series of corners. Everyone seemed to make it through pretty successfully as they come down to this tight hairpin now at turn 4. Oh, there's one flipping off into the wall. That looked like Jones. Jones out into the wall. He'll be hitting the ejection seat from there, no doubt. Looked like he copped a bit of a hip and shoulder on the approach into the apex there, Corey.
Yeah, he did, Alex, and he is actually still sitting there. Hasn't quite hit the eject button yet. As he just does that right now. Unfortunate series of events there for him. He also got caught up in something in the practice race as well. So he's not going to be having a very happy time here at all on this Sunday night, Alex.
Yeah, not a good run for the Team Torpedo driver there tonight. I tell you what, there's going to be some racing in this front pack. Osborne all over the back of Schultz now. Schultz throwing caution to the wind with his Smurf count by the looks. And Simonson, meanwhile, leading this pack, a long string of Skip Barber cars now as they come over the crest of the hill into this last little right-left chicane. Beautiful corner when you get it right. And of course, you've got to get the exit to set up almost a flat run now as they come down into turn 14. Little aggressive lift here. You'll get the car to rotate. Maybe a tap on the brakes in the early laps. Oh, Simonson's guys held on to it. The rear of the car really wants to let go there in the early stages. Fantastic car control there from Simpson. Once you get on the dirt out there, particularly the lone soldier left rear, and he's done tremendously well to hang on to that, Corey.
Yeah, he has indeed, Alex, and that's a page out of my own book, being a dirt driver majoritively of the time. But another thing, Alex, that we haven't quite covered is the air right now. The wind is 22 kilometers an hour coming from the south. As I see one of the Milo cars in the background going around, I'm pretty sure that must have been Mr. John Scholz. Oh, unfortunate there for the Milo driver, Alex.
Yeah, let's go grab a picture. 3 wide into one. Oh, yeah, the 18 car up the inside. Big brakes there. Cancer coming through. Discretion, the better part of the valve. They both run very deep there. And then, the 18 cars caught the dirt and then speared him. Dead set turned him into the kebab you'd chuck on the barbie there. The Milo kebab, there's a new one for you. The 18 car there of Kevin Henderson, unfortunately, bringing an end to Jay Scholz's race. That's the last we'll see of John Scholz having a terrible run this season in Sunday Night Lights as we jump back up the front now. We've still got Simonson with Schultz behind him. Osborne now a little bit over 7/10 of a second behind and really falling into the clutches of this big pack behind him.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. But one thing that will be playing into his hand here a little bit is that draft, because even though it's 7/10, that is still within draft range. And when they get on the front straight, as I was starting to allude to before, they do have this big tailwind that's going to be pushing them down that long front straight, which will also help out with the drafting a little bit here. Our second place driver, Sebastian Schultz, has just gone around after getting too much dirt, Alex.
Oh, let's go grab a replay of that. So we see they're coming down to that final corner, and as you say, this is the bit that I was worried about. No, where's he gone? I've lost him. Where's Schultz? Oh, I'll just go back a bit. I just lost him. The overlays changed. And this is what I was worried about. This is what I said about Simonson's car control. You just kind of half get beached there, and the rear spins up. He loses traction on the outside, and around she goes, puts you in the wall on the inside. You know, I was thinking about how all the things that could unfold in this race tonight, and that final corner, that scenario was one I had pictured in my head exactly, thinking about how I might describe it. It's exactly what's happened there to poor old Sebastian Schultz, who, whilst he was on his secondary account by the looks, as we return to live pictures now, certainly not the way he wanted to finish his race, Corey.
No, definitely not, Alex. And we were speaking just before the broadcast started, and that was actually one of the things that I pointed out to you as well, is just the amount of curb that they were taking there and tickling the dirt. You know, it's very easy to just go that little bit too far and get it all wrong. But, you know, it's what's happened. It is racing. But at the moment, Benny Simpson now leading the way with about a 1.1 second gap over the second place Joe Osborne now, Alex.
Yeah, out at 1.4 as it stands at the moment. Anderson tucked in behind Osborne, sitting in P2 and 3 respectively. Simon now, he's got a 1.13 second gap to bridge with. He's got 2 Simart boys behind him, a different 2 this week of Otero and Vico there, and Matsusinski. I'll tell you what, I had it right in the warm-up, or at least the reading of the grid, but my tongue once again buried well and truly in my ear at this stage rather than my mouth. But Matsusinski, he's tucked in behind the 2 Simart boys in P7, looking to battle it out. You see Vico show the nose to team boss man Otero, but not making the move, although he has forced Otero to think a little bit about his line and perhaps not get the best run out, and that's allowing Simon to potentially get away whilst he's trying to bridge this gap between himself and Anderson, make that what would that be, a 6-car battle from 2 to 7 if you can bridge that gap, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And it looked like Otero actually locked up his inside wheel in that first corner, causing that little bit of a mistake to happen. But at the moment, looks like, you know, they're just playing nice at the minute. You know, they didn't want to take each other out, which is the main thing. You definitely don't want to take out the team boss of all people. But if these guys could start working together and catch up to second and third, sorry, and then start drafting with them to try and catch up to Benny, we could be in for a race here, Alex. But it looks like at the moment, Anderson and Osborne are going to try and battle it out a little bit here themselves.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, that means that Simon, who's in P4 at the moment, just some 8 tenths behind, starting to bridge that gap. He's going to 10th this lap. He should gain a little bit more here through the braking zone because of the compression the accordion effect, albeit only between two cars, should work in his favour as he's got a free run at the braking zone now as they go through turn 14. See how many are brave enough to take it. I'll tell you what, they all stuck inside that time round. That time round they got through cleanly. No dirt there, no one poking their nose into the wall and looking for repairs. As now Simon is just 5 tenths of a second. He'll be right in amongst it. And look at the three cars he's bringing with him. Two Simart boys and Matsushinsky. He's look how close Anderson is behind Joe Osborne. The UK&I boys really getting amongst it, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. They're fighting really hard right now. We're still in the early stages of the race, only lap 5 of 13. But you can see Anderson is trying to pressure Osborne into a mistake wherever he can, mostly on the corner entry, because that's where you're going to gain the biggest advantage as the chasing car. Because if you can force the guy out wide a little bit, you can sneak up that inside, as long as you don't touch wheels. And it's definitely a good move for a mine punt. As Anderson now right up on the gearbox of Osborne through the right-hand sweeping corner here at the back of the track. It's going to be close between these two, I reckon, Alex.
Yeah, 100%, Corey. You got Anderson now as we ride on board with the UK&I driver. He is absolutely under the tailpipe of Osborne in front of him as they come up to the left-hander at Vodafone this time round. Third gear corner, nice exit there. You want to get a nice short run here. Potential passing opportunity into 12, of course, but Anderson nowhere near close enough. In fact, Thomas Simon behind him is actually fraction closer as he shows the nose, takes a tight line into the turn at 12, flicks it back for the left hand, takes a lot of the curb on the inside as you can do. Neither of the two drivers in front really carrying enough pace to bother the outside curbing there at 13. Now as they go through 14, look at Simon cutting all that he can there. The grass creek there, no problem for Simon that time round. And again, everyone very cautiously past the sand trap on the outside as we run the closing stages. Now Simon has a look up the inside now of Anderson after doing all the work to bridge the gap. He wants that next spot. In fact, he's going to go 2 for 1, is he? Osborne now forced to take the long way round. Side by side, they go wheel to wheel. I'll tell you what, he's almost got it done. Still side by side, but of course, flick it through the right-hander here. Osborne will have the inside into... Anderson did not want to let him fall back in. And going from 2 for 1, will he hang on to even getting the single pass done? I think he has. And in fact, did Anderson's lifted and fallen back into line at this stage, Corey. Plenty of action in the mid stages of this one.
Yeah, that's right. And Simon as well, doing a little bit more grass cutting there as they were coming onto the section that cuts off for the club section, going right over the painted white area and getting the grass a little bit there on the exit. But it just goes to show, how much he's trying to put into this race. Now he's going to be focused on the tail of Osborne here, while Anderson is still going to have to play attack and defense because those Simart competition boys are right behind him, Alex, and they're going to start hounding him pretty hard in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, and on the back of them, you've got Matsushinsky. We haven't seen anything of him previously, making his debut in Sunday Night Lights, but he's not out of a running here at all. I mean, he's in P7 on the back of this pack, 6 cars in front of him as they snake through 13 and 14 once again on the tail end of lap 6. I'll tell you what, there'll be some battling there. You see the Thrustmaster Ivanaka of Enzo Cantor in the background. He's in no man's land, 2.5 seconds behind with a 5.2 second gap to the car behind him. He'll be hoping these guys can get amongst it, as his time is about 4 tenths off the pace, 3 or 4 tenths off the pace of this pack. It's going to have to start being action stations as they go to... I tell you what, Osborne's having none of that. moves across to take the defensive line to make sure Anderson doesn't poke the nose, but poke the nose he does. Osborne once again forced to go around the outside, but that'll set him up for the inside run into the next kink, as then they come into 3 now. This right-hand kink break down into the hairpin at 4 this time round, and once again it's Osborne in P2. Anderson, well, it's actually P3, I should say, because P2's Simon in front. And Simon's done very well. Not only did he bridge that gap, but he's now in one of the safer positions on the front of this pack. Not out of danger, of course. Can always still get to... Oh, it's Osborne. He's going to have a look on the run down the hill. This 4th gear sweeping right-hander, I tell you what. Only where angels fear to tread there, as Anderson once again also showing the nose there into the right-hand kink there at the bottom of the hill. I tell you what, these boys are not mucking around, Corey.
No, they're definitely not, Alex. And the intensity is just going to keep stepping up as this race goes on. I think we might see maybe a couple of tears getting shed by the end of this one with how hard these drivers are driving. But if we don't, it's just a testament to the skill of these guys. I know I harp on about it every week, Alex, but these guys are definitely the most skilled drivers that we have assembled in many, many seasons of doing these broadcasts. And the intensity level just keeps stepping up and up and up each week. And it's going to be interesting to see how these guys are going to end this race, but we'll see what happens on this straightaway alone first, as Osborne, I feel like he's got a little bit of an air gap here to Simon just ahead of him. So we'll have to wait and see what it's going to be like for him along this straightaway. The wind is now blowing behind him at 17 k's an hour, and Simon going straight down to the defensive line. As we now hit halfway through this race, he's not going to be letting anyone getting around his inside too easily. But we're going to go 3 wide into the first corner, Alex. And that was almost tears for Anderson.
I tell you what, he runs the risk there, and risk realised. He swung out to the outside there and opened the door completely for Otero, and Otero didn't need then a second invitation. Walked straight through the open door into turn 1, and now sits up into P4, eyeing off the podium positions ahead of him, with Osborne and Simon now sitting in those coveted positions. We just catch a glimpse of Simonson running away with this one, some 3.7 seconds. Tell you what, this is one of those tracks that you can't really claim to be too much of a draft track that people complain about, although it is a GP circuit. Once you're able to break away, as Simonson has done, he's shown he's got the pace and quality for the single lap, and now he's just driving away with it. These guys here, certainly where the action's at, Corey.
Yeah, well, that's right, Alex. I mean, as soon as we lost Schultz, it looked like Benny is just going to be running away with this one, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake, which, Simonson's definitely not one to make silly little mistakes when he's got such a lead like this. It's GG, see you later, enjoy your win, and, it's all just battling it out for P2, which we can see unfolding in front of us here on the screen. That's 7 of Joe Osborne looking for any advantage that he can get over Simon as we come up to the final couple of corners here, and you can see how sideways Osborne was on the entry to the penultimate corner. He is trying to wring the neck of this poor little Skippy, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, and you wonder about the quality of these guys in this pack. 4,400 I rating buys you a ticket to ride in this pack right here. So these guys know how to steer. 3 wide once again. Oh, this time it's Otero opening the door. Will Anderson walk through it? Looks like he might be able to. Anderson really somewhat timid almost in how he's approaching this race. He's I guess he's saving it for the last few laps, but we're almost there. This is 5 laps to go. Last time they crossed the line. And he's going to want to think about getting the elbows out a bit more, although it is a narrow track. There are only really 1 or 2 legitimate passing opportunities, and the best one, of course, is into turn 1. Oh, as we see Osborne showing the nose again through that sweeping right-hander, and he's really putting down into the mind of Simon, but Simon just cool, calm and collected, as you like, running his lines and potentially hold them off. You see when he exits that final corner, as we noticed a lap before, Corey, as you mentioned, he swings right over to the right and says, no, I'm going to take the defensive line. Makes his intent very, very clear indeed, and his intent clearly is to hang on to the second step in the podium.
Well, that's right, Alex. And in this kind of a strength of build, and with how many points are on offer, not just for SNL, but for the official series itself, he's doing a very smart driving race here. He is blocking where he needs to block. He is just running his line as he should. As now we see, I think that was Vico. No, that was Otero maybe trying to have a little bit of a look on the inside of Osborne, who has been very aggressive with his counterattack on Simon, but it just hasn't looked like he's been finding any kind of way to possibly get around him, which is going to be a bit of a concern for him with only 4 laps left to go now. As we go into Tarzan now, it's a slightly
Oh,
back corner, and there's contact on the outside. Here comes Otero. One of the few places where you can make an outside pass stick because the corner is slightly banked, Alex.
yeah, I tell you, a little bit of net code coming into play there, but Osborne, he made sure he got in the front, swings over to the left on the approach to the hairpin. You can get away with it on that side, as you say, a little bit banked there. Canberra working in your favour. And Otero really wanted to get up there and match it with Simon, as Osborne's having none of it though. And Anderson now poised in behind us. Simonson now out to a 4-second lead with his best lap being a 52.9, only matched by he's pipped just Thomas Simon in P2. The rest are all running 53s, and Simon I think might have done his potentially in draft because his last lap was a 53.2. Simonson's last lap was a 53.3. So these boys not mucking around. Certainly pretty quick times around here, even though the track temp's down a bit. Tyres are warmed up in there, and they're certainly putting on a show, Corey.
Yeah, well, that's right, Alex. And the show is definitely what we're getting right now. 'Cause these guys, and how big is this pack? This is still a 6-car pack, Alex. This has been a 6-car pack ever since they've joined up together, and they have not been slowing down on the attempts to get around. I mean, as we outlined before, this is probably one of the harder tracks it is to pass, with only there really being 2 or 3 genuine passing opportunities, as Simon taking a lot of the dirt there in between the penultimate and the final corners. Lucky not to get spat down to the inside, just like Sebastian Schulz was. But at the moment, he's still holding on to that second position, Alex. And now here comes Cristobal, looking for the inside line, losing his nose in the process, up on the inside of Osborne. Not going to quite get it this time. Osborne using that outside line to hold on to it, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. These boys putting on quite the show at this stage, and yeah, it looks like Otero has lost that nose cone there in that small melee. But was that a sign of things to come, Corey, as these boys start to think about the closing laps in the race?
Well, that's exactly right, Alex. And, it's only going to get more and more intense as the laps tick away. We've only got 2.5 laps left to run. And it looks like Osborne, being probably the most desperate driver on the track, wanting to try and take away that second place to solidify his previous second place in the warm-up race. He's going to be wanting to try and prove himself here. But with the likes of Cristobal right behind him, and even Simon right in front of him, it's going to be a tall order for him to get around Simon without losing ground to Otero and possibly losing more than just a podium, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. It's going to be a tough job indeed. So, as we see once again, showing the nose up the inside at 14. He's got 13 on the exit of 14. It will give him the inside run, and has that been enough to get him through in the final couple of corners? Oh, and Otero trying to get through. This is where Anderson's trying to show what he's worth as well, trying to get amongst it. Of course, they're coming down to the very last and closing stages of this one, Corey, and the boys are getting right amongst it.
That's right. We can see Simon now trying to look for an outside run here on Osborne. That's not something we're seeing, as we also got a car coming out of the pits. They're 3 wide in the first corner, 4 wide with the lap car. These guys are turning on. Oh, there's contact. Simon and Otero getting together. And they're still side by side with Osborne now taking over the second place mantle. And Otero,
Oh, the
oh
wheel's
no, he's
literally
lost the
falling
wheel.
off.
He's lost the wheel. The wheels are off the wagon. 3 wheels on his wagon, Alex.
Oh, the wheel's literally falling off for Otero tonight as Osborne now really grasping hold of that second place trophy at the moment. Anderson now making his way through to P3, and it was in fact that move into the chicane at 12 and 13 which really got the nose up the inside and set him up for that overtaking manoeuvre at the end of the straight there. And Otero trying to follow him through, but only managing to run the wheels off his race, unfortunately. And it's only the penultimate lap. It's not even the last lap. These boys are playing for keeps. As we see Anderson now on the front of the race for third spot, the final spot on that podium. He's got about 8 tenths to make up if he hopes to try and grab P2, with some half second behind between he and Tamas. And Tamas now, he's got a battle on his hand. The second of the Sim-Up boys, and Matushinsky coming through the chicane now. He's trying to get in amongst it as well. He's grabbed a spot there, moving up the order in his maiden race, Corey.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. He is. He is now in the 5th position as we see Lee Anderson grabbing quite a bit of the dirt there coming through to the final corner. But I think Simon might have a little bit more damage than just a slightly bent front wing, Alex, because he just doesn't seem to quite have the pace that he had before. And it's actually a little bit concerning to see because he's not really catching up to Lee Anderson here in the draft. But Lee Anderson still holding on strong to that 3rd place, and Simon's still going to try and fight for it as we are on the last lap. It looks like Vico got back past the 6th car. I'm not even going to attempt his name there, Alex, because you're a braver man than I am.
Oh, I'm just having a guess, mate, but I think it's Matsushinsky, and he's making the most of his run here. Although Kander's back into it as well. After all that battling, Kander's now just half a second behind. Enzo Genzo's back on the track and in the running once again. So you see Simon, Benny Simonson, I should say, the one-plated car, he's coming around the closing stages of this final lap, and he's going to take it out. The UK and I driver. Oh no, he's just in the back part of the track. I mistook where we were up to. Joe Osborne now. He's got Anderson all over the back of him. Some 6.5 seconds off the lead now, and it's going to be these three once again: Osborne, Anderson, and Simon, as they are racing towards the line. That battle will be great to unfold. There's another battle pack of 3 behind as well. Where's Simonson up to? He's coming through that final chicane. We'll come back to him and make sure we catch him crossing the line. Simon showing the nose, but it's Anderson giving enough of a defence to hold the two-plated driver off, and yet still looking to attack. Will the draft be enough? As we see Simonson exit the final corner and come across to take his second race win in a row. The 3 cars behind now jostling for position. It looks like it's going to be Osborne. Anderson right beside him. Oh, Simon says, thank you very much for coming. I'll put on a bit of a show for the fans at the end. And Osborne's celebratory crash in the rear from Cantor, who couldn't quite miss the stricken UK and I driver there at the end, as the remaining parts of our field trundle their way across to finish their races, Corey. Simonson ran away with it, but there was plenty of action in that second pack.
Yeah, there was, Alex, and I did call it. I did say Simonson would probably run away with this one after his performance in the warm-up race. But the action that was on that track from 2nd through to 7th was absolutely amazing. And, 10 out of 10 would recommend, would watch again. And, those guys just definitely put on a show. I can't believe they went 4 wide through Tarzan, Alex.
Yeah, crazy. 4 wide. I don't think it was entirely by choice. Of course, as we see Otero coming to round out his lonely finish after the wheel coming off there midstream. You had a car exiting pit. I can only assume it was Tufts, was it? I can't remember who it was coming out of pit. It's certainly an awkward time. Discretion would have been the right way to go there and chuck on the anchors well in advance. Perhaps check the relative. F3 for those at home, playing at home, as the 13 car Daniel Tufts, who I don't want to unrightly label him, but he's the only one I can think it would have been potentially, as he then literally throws out the anchors. And we'll have a look at our race results. Benny Simpson, second race in a row. I think it might even be, his third of the season. I'd have to go check the results. But the UK and I driver dominating flag to flag. And, he didn't take out the Triple Crown. He didn't get the fastest lap. Thomas Simon did with a 52.7. You can see at the bottom there. Joe Osborne, he's the UK and I driver. He's had a great run there in P2 with a great battle in the mix too. I'm sure he enjoyed it quite a bit. P3 tonight went to Lee Anderson from UK and I, the Puce-powered Lee Anderson machine, finishing quite well tonight. He's had a bit of a rough run from time to time, but a podium's nothing to sneeze at. Thomas Simon, he's come home in fourth after an eventful race. Really job well done in bridging the gap there, middle stages, and got on the front of that hard charging pack, but only managing to grab P4 in the end. The Iberian driver of Alexis Tapia Vico, who I think is across Simart competition, judging by his livery, finishing in the top 5 tonight. P6, George Matsushinsky, who made his debut, and a good solid debut it was, finishing in P6. Enzo Cantor for Thrustmaster Movano Racing. He's in P7 tonight. Again, another one who bridged a gap and managed to climb 8 positions from where he started poorly in quali to finish in P7. Thomas Torp back again for P8 tonight. Martin Booker, UK and I driver, in P9. Alejandro Sanz in P10 tonight. 73 Racing, or better known as Team Milo, I think, these days. Sean Carron in P11 tonight, leading ANZ driver. Cristobal Otero, the Cross Simart competition driver, in P12, the final position in our Sunday Night Lights points. Medyen tonight in P13, Daniel Tufts, UK and I drivers, in P14, ANZ's Wayne Losh in P15. 16th tonight was Sebastian Schultz, who retired, as did Kevin Henderson in 17th, John Scholz for Team Milo in 18th, and Team Torpedoes Anthony Jones in P19. Strength of field, as we said, 37.87 on the fastest lap to Thomas Simon with a 152.7. Corey, plenty of action out there on a track that's pretty tough to pass at.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. And Simpson might not have gotten a triple crown with the pole, the fastest lap, and the win, but I can tell you, Alex, it is a UK and I lockout for the podium, which is something that I don't think we've seen for a very long time.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and I'm going to have to do some trickery here because, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, how many laps did we have? I think we had about, just going to try and jump back to the start because, there we go. My overlays had a conniption in the middle of the race, so I'm having to wing it a little bit tonight. But look, we have got someone up ready to say hello. We might bring up Mr. Enzo Cantor. Enzo, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth. Made a bit of a recovery drive after not such a good qualifying time. You managed to get up 8 spots tonight. How was your drive through the field?
Hi guys, do you hear me well? Because my microphone is not working so well in this period.
Yeah, mate, we got you
we
fine.
got you clear, mate.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I completely failed the qualifying. The first lap it was an off track, so in the second I was forced to take some other risks, and I did only one big mistake that made me lose. I think 6 or 7 tenths. So potentially I will be in the top 5 or 6 of the grid, but that mistake put me in 15th, I think, and this demonstrates how high is the quality of the field, because there are all extremely fast and clean and almost professional drivers here, I think, because really a strong field. Then I said my pray before the start because in this track with the cold tires is more difficult than in others because it's very slippery. I don't know what time of the day is, but I think is the sunset. I don't know. But track is very cold, but not so grippy. So I avoided some incidents in the first laps. I was on the train, and I did only one mistake in turn one, lap three, because I was in the train except from Benny that was already gone. And that only mistake in turn one of lap three made me lose the train. I was at 2.5, I think, seconds of gap from the train, and I pushed every lap, push. But my pace was almost exactly the same pace that had the train in front of me. So I was praying for a mistake, for a battle, but they were extremely smart because they were battling, but they did that without losing any time. They changed their position, but without losing any time. I did every lap. I think at 1.53 point some else. But look at the timetable. I was in the same exactly pace. In the last laps, I was there, but unable to take the last corner fast enough in order to try a finish, a thrilling finish. But I'm happy because starting from 15, finishing seventh, I gained the eighth position, and I'm happy. Congratulations to Benny too, because Benny Simonsen demonstrates that he's always very, very, very strong in every track, and in this track particularly is unstoppable.
Yeah, he did a great job out there in front. A bit of a lone race, and certainly made the most of it. Second week in a row that he's taken it out. Of course, very different circumstances. But congratulations, Enzo. Great to see you back on track with us and having fun out there. Looks like you had a bit of fun throughout the race. And as you say, up 8 positions in this kind of field is nothing to complain about, that's for sure. So congratulations on your run. Do you want to give anyone a shout out while you're here and maybe let people know where they can see you?
Yeah, surely I have to say thanks to my team, Trasmaster Mivano Sim Racing, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, all my teammates, all my followers on my Twitch channel, you too, and obviously you for the awesome work that you do every week. And as I said before, I wish you will never stop to do this kind of broadcasts.
Thanks, Enzo. Much appreciated. Enzo, of course, now streaming on Enzo Genzo or Twitch. Go check him out. See how it's done from the first person view. Thanks again for joining us, Enzo. We look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for spotting my channel, Enzo Gens on Twitch. And well, I will try to be here next week. What track will be next week? I didn't watch at the schedule.
That's a brilliant question, Enzo. Just give me a second. I'll check. I should have thought, but no. You know, we're doing Zandvoort twice this season. Apparently, there's 13 weeks. I wondered if we'd ever get a leap year or something. Oh, we're at VIR, Virginia International Raceway, the North Course, this coming week. So, should be interesting. Last season, we had good participation in the face of what I thought was a track that typically people stay away from. But hopefully, we'll see that again this season.
Virginia. Yeah, I'm looking now at what configuration is. North Course.
Yeah, that's right.
What is North Course?
Pretty big one.
The really big one, the biggest.
I think it might be, but I guess we'll find out when we start turning some laps next week. But anyway, that's all good.
Well, Virginia is one of my favorite track on iRacing, so I will try all I can do to be here. The problem is I have also F3, the Lara F3 Italian Championship next week. So I will be divided between the two cars, and it's not so easy at all, as you can confirm. So, but I wish to be enough prepared in the next Sunday to be with you again.
Excellent. All right, Enzo. Thanks, mate. We hope to see you then.
Thank you. See you soon.
There you go. Corey, double banger from Enzo this week. We got a bit of an insight into the Italian driver for Thrustmaster Vivano and VIR. Look, it has its fans, but usually not a well-participated track, but hopefully we get a few more next week. It'd be good to see him.
Yeah, definitely would, Alex. And I'm probably one of those who would look at VIR no matter which configuration and be like, I'll think about it. But last season we did have some great participation at VIR. It was a very pleasant surprise. I hope we can get that again because it definitely put on one of the more cracking races of last season.
Yeah, I agree. I was really pleasantly surprised. So hopefully we get to see that sort of participation again next week. So, but folks, that'll about do us. Corey, what do you got coming up in the week ahead?
So on Tuesday, I've actually got a triple header of dirt oval action. We're going to be doing the Fastlane Esports from Limaland in the wingless 360s and the winged 410s, and then immediately afterwards we got a delayed race from the AOS, I think it is, the new sprint car league that I'm going to be running on Thursdays, but I said they had to delay the first round to Tuesday, and that one's going to be from Volusia. On Wednesday, I have the next round of Output Racing League from the newly reconfigured Kentucky Speedway, which should be an absolutely cracking race to watch. Those boys will have almost no practice, and it'll be awesome to watch them struggle around the newly configured track. And Thursday, I'm assuming we're going to be running round number 2 of the AOS, and I'm not sure what track that one's going to be from. And Friday, we don't have FNRC anymore, Alex, but I will still be participating in NIS, and I might just do a random stream for whatever reason on Friday night. And then, of course, Saturday, I've got the US ANZ League, and I do believe this week they're going to be from the Martinsville Speedway. So a tight little track, better known as the Paperclip.
Okay, unique name for a racetrack, but yeah, plenty of action ahead for you, Corey, this week. No doubt, folks. Oh, hang on. Let me just do. Where's my button gone? Oh, I've moved everything around. I want to get all that off. So there, and then take off that fella. All right, folks, everything Top Split is on your screen at the moment. This race replay, along with all the history of SNL and M&L, will be on the Top Split YouTube channel. Join us in the Discord where we do the broadcast from. And, of course, the post-race interviews as well. And, of course, back here next week. Maybe a race, something. I'll do an F3 during the week as well. So check that out if you're so inclined. But until next time, folks, thank you very much for joining us on track and in the chat. We do this for the community, and it's by the community, so your support is very much appreciated. And until next time, on behalf of Corey Steinhauser, I'm Alex McKellar, and I wish you good night and ciao for now.